Two tiny kittens, one a small gray tabby, the other a bright orange ginger, had been hiding in the same empty bread crate behind Julia's bakery for almost 7 weeks. She had fed them every single night at 10:45 p.m. after closing. She had never been able to touch them. They came, they ate, they disappeared. Until a Thursday night in February at 11:23 p.m. when Julia was locking up and her smoke detector started screaming. The kitchen was filling with gray smoke, her phone was dead on the counter, and the back door had slammed shut behind her. What these two skittish kittens did in the next 4 minutes, a woman who had never trusted herself to rescue anything stopped trusting a single thing she thought she knew. Julia Bennett had moved to Boston's North End 11 months before that night. She was 31 years old, freshly divorced, completely alone in a new city, and had sunk every single dollar of her savings into a small corner bakery called Crumb and Flour on Salem Street. She opened at 5 a.m. 6 days a week. She baked sourdough, brioche, and cinnamon rolls by hand. She did not have employees yet. She did not have regulars yet. Most nights, she closed at 9 p.m., scrubbed the counters, and walked the 4 blocks back to her empty apartment, wondering if anyone in this entire city would actually notice if she stopped showing up. In early January, she noticed the first kitten. It was a Tuesday night, 10:45 p.m., cold enough that her breath was hanging in the air behind the back door of the shop. She was carrying a trash bag to the dumpster when she saw a small gray tabby sitting on top of the empty bread crate, watching her. Not running, not approaching, just watching. Julia froze. She had seen stray cats on Salem Street before, but this one was young, maybe 3 months old, with a torn left ear and the kind of careful stillness that only happens to animals who have already learned that the world is not safe. She went back inside. She came out 2 minutes later with a small paper cup of warm cream and half of a chicken salad sandwich from the display case. She set them on top of the bread crate and backed away. The gray tabby watched her. Then from underneath the crate, a second head appeared. Bright orange, tabby stripes, one white paw. The ginger kitten was half the size of the tabby and shaking so hard Julia could see it from 10 feet away. She started leaving food out at 10:45 p.m. every single night. By the end of the first week, she had names for them. Biscuit, the tabby, because he was the color of burnt butter. Toffee, the ginger, because he had the softest gold stripes and the biggest eyes she had ever seen on a small animal. They came back every night. They ate everything she left, but they never let her close. Anytime Julia stepped past the back door frame, Biscuit and Toffee were gone, melting into the narrow alley shadows between her bakery and the Italian butcher shop next door. Weeks passed. She did not force anything. She just kept leaving food, water, and sometimes a small folded towel inside the bread crate on the nights when the temperature dropped below freezing. Biscuit would lie across the opening of the crate like a small guard, protecting the smaller ginger curled behind him. Julia told her sister on the phone one night that 2 stray kittens had, without knowing it, become the only reason she looked forward to closing up her bakery at the end of every exhausting day. I see you are still watching, but you have not tapped subscribe yet. That one stings a little. One tap. What comes next is the reason I needed to tell this story. Then came Thursday night, February 11th, 11:23 p.m. Julia had stayed late finishing a massive catering order for a wedding the following morning, 6 dozen brioche rolls and 4 full sheet trays of cinnamon pull-apart bread. Her oven had been running hot all evening. She had just pulled the last tray, wiped down her prep station, and walked out the back door to set the trash by the dumpster when she heard the smoke detector above her prep table begin to scream through the closed door. Her phone was sitting on the counter inside, her keys were in her jacket pocket, and the back door, which had swung wide open behind her in the cold wind, had just slammed shut, locked. Julia's stomach dropped. Gray smoke was already curling out from around the edges of the back door frame. She pulled on the handle. Locked. She ran around the side of the building to the front, but the front door, like every commercial storefront on Salem Street, was deadbolted from the outside and could only be opened with her keys, which were still in the jacket she had left draped over the prep table inside. She started pounding on the glass, screaming. The street was empty. February in the North End at 11:23 on a Thursday night, not a single person walking past, not a car, nothing. And then, at the edge of her vision, she saw them. Biscuit and Toffee were running full speed down Salem Street in the opposite direction, not away from the bakery, but toward the corner, toward the only building on the block with lights still on at that hour, the 24-hour laundromat at the end of the street, where an older woman named Rosa Martinelli ran a night shift and sat behind the counter reading paperbacks from 10 at night until 6 in the morning. The two kittens that had never let Julia touch them ran straight up to Rosa's front window, and Toffee, the small ginger who had been shaking the first night Julia had ever seen him, scratched at the glass with both tiny paws at the same time, over and over, loud enough that Rosa actually looked up from her book. Rosa saw the smoke at the other end of the street 45 seconds later. Then she saw Julia pressed against the bakery window screaming. Rosa called 911 from the laundromat phone. The fire department arrived in under 6 minutes. The fire marshal, who later walked Julia through the damage, a man named Captain Dale O'Brien, told her that a faulty heating element underneath her commercial oven had overheated a wooden cabinet, and that if she had been inside another 8 minutes, the smoke would have been unsurvivable. Some stories change the way you see everything that came before them. This is one of those. Julia stood on Salem Street wrapped in a firefighter's jacket at 1 a.m., shivering, watching the fire crew pack up their gear. Rosa Martinelli was beside her with a paper cup of bad laundromat coffee in her hands, and at Julia's feet, pressed against her ankles, sat Biscuit and Toffee. Not running, not hiding, just sitting there like they had finally decided it was safe to stop being stray. Biscuit and Toffee came home with Julia that night in a cardboard pastry box lined with a kitchen towel. It was the first time in almost 6 weeks either of them had let her pick them up. Biscuit was 4.2 pounds, Toffee was 3.1. The next morning, they ate breakfast off of her kitchen floor, side by side. That afternoon, Julia called Dr. Marcus Lynn at the neighborhood vet clinic 2 blocks away, and the kittens were examined, vaccinated, and declared officially part of a home for the first time in their short lives. The bakery reopened 9 days later. There is a small wooden sign above the pastry case now that says Biscuit and Toffee, head of security. Both cats sleep in a padded basket on top of the display case during the day. Regular customers now know them by name, and nobody on Salem Street has forgotten the Thursday night in February when 2 stray kittens who had been fed out of kindness ran down a dark street and woke up the only person who could save the woman who had saved them first. So tell me honestly, do you think Biscuit and Toffee understood what was happening that night? Or do animals just know things that we will never fully understand? Tell me in the comments.